Welcome back, everyone. And today, we're talking about one of the biggest developments in the Russia-Ukraine war in recent months, because Russian President Vladimir Putin has now claimed that the war is heading to an end, while at the same time sharply criticizing Western countries and NATO for continuing to support Ukraine. And these comments came during Russia's Victory Day events in Moscow, which are hugely symbolic for the Kremlin because Victory Day celebrates the Soviet Union's defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II, and Putin has increasingly used that historical narrative to justify Russia's military actions in Ukraine, portraying the conflict as a defensive struggle against what he calls Western aggression. And during his speech and later comments to reporters, Putin argued that the West expected Russia to collapse under economic pressure, sanctions, and military resistance, but according to him, that strategy failed, and he said Western governments are now trapped in a confrontation they cannot easily exit. And what makes these remarks especially important is the timing, because they come alongside a temporary 3-day ceasefire reportedly brokered by U.S. President Donald Trump, with both Russia and Ukraine agreeing to reduce attacks during the period, although both sides almost immediately accused each other of violating the truce, which shows how fragile and complicated the situation still is. And even though there were reports of drone activity and civilian casualties, there were no major strikes reported during the first day of the ceasefire, raising hopes among some observers that this could potentially become the first step toward broader negotiations, although many analysts remain skeptical because previous ceasefires during this war have collapsed very quickly. And another major point from Putin's comments was his statement that he would be willing to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in a third country, but only after the conditions for a final peace agreement are already settled, meaning Russia appears to want the core terms decided before any top-level meeting takes place, which is very different from the approach Ukraine and many Western leaders have pushed for in the past. And according to reports, Russia and Ukraine also discussed a possible prisoner exchange involving 1,000 prisoners from each side, which would be one of the largest swaps since the war began, although Putin claimed Moscow has not yet officially received proposals from Kyiv on how that exchange would happen. And this entire situation comes at a time when the global political landscape is shifting, because international attention has also been divided by tensions involving Iran and broader geopolitical conflicts, which some experts believe has reduced the intensity of diplomatic focus on Ukraine compared to earlier phases of the war. And meanwhile, inside Russia, Victory Day celebrations this year were reportedly scaled down due to security concerns and recent Ukrainian long-range drone attacks, showing that despite the Kremlin's confident public messaging, the war continues to have a real impact inside Russian territory as well. And now, the big question everyone is asking is whether Putin's statement about the war heading to an end signals a genuine opening for peace talks, or whether it is mainly strategic messaging aimed at both domestic audiences and international observers. Because on one hand, Russia continues military operations and maintains tough conditions for negotiations, while on the other hand, public discussion of possible talks, ceasefires, and prisoner exchanges suggests that behind the scenes there may be growing pressure on all sides to find some kind of path forward after years of devastating fighting, massive casualties, economic strain, and global political consequences. And as always with this conflict, every statement from world leaders can shift expectations dramatically, so the next few weeks could become extremely important in determining whether this ceasefire effort leads anywhere meaningful or whether the war simply returns to another cycle of escalation. And that's the latest on this developing story, so let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think this could be the beginning of serious peace negotiations, or is this just another temporary pause in a conflict that still has a long way to go? And if you found this update useful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest international news coverage.